So this is from Alternative Lures. And this guy's from Alternative Lures. We're going to do him in a white crappie tonight. And I only have one of these. I don't know if he has these in stock or not, but they're really nice and solid. And I haven't tried it yet to see if it swims well, but I will test this one out once I get it done. It does have detachable fins on the top that insert right on the top. I don't know where I put them, so I have to find them. But I do have the tail, and the tail I will show you. I just couldn't figure out. I couldn't find. I gotta look some more for those little fins that go on the top. They're just little rubber fins that kind of stick in there. They're small. You can go to their website if you want to see what they look like with the fins on them. I would do those separately from the bait painted anyways, because they're like a rubber material, like a silicone material. So I wouldn't do that at the same time anyway, so no big deal. So we're going to do this in a white crappie. I did up a white crappie for someone just like yesterday. Was it yesterday? And it turned out pretty good. So you know what? This one is stuck. I got clear coat on it and it's stuck. I don't know why I don't just throw it away. I keep thinking I'm going to wedge that baby open. So like when I do clear coat spray, I usually stick tape, like fold tape in half and stick it in there so that they don't get stuck together. I learned that the hard way, like most things. Anyhow, so it's white crappie night. I'm trying to find the feed. Here we go. I got to turn myself down so I don't have to listen. I'm trying to find the feed. Woo, I don't want to listen to me. It'll probably echo. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and post the website, and I'm going to do a 20% off tonight for the weekend. So 20% off anything that's in stock. And that's I only do that once in a while. So if you've been looking at some of my stuff and you're wanting to order, now's the time because you can get 20% off through the rest of the weekend. So go to coloradocustomlures.com to order. I want this work. I want to copy you. So I will post that at the bottom of the comments so you can find it easily. It's also in the description. Everybody say hi if you're here. Make sure you like my page on Facebook and follow me on Instagram, which is also post. My Instagram is also Colorado Custom Lures. So you can find me there as well. And that's where I post most of, I post my new stuff on my Facebook and on my Instagram when I come out with new designs that are available in store. And I also share my custom work there. So if you want to kind of keep up with what's going on, that is where you will find it. All right, so I'm going to do a little alcohol wipe down on this. I've had these for a little while, and this one, I got this as a sample, and I never did order more. They're out of stock a lot on this one, which means it probably does swim well, but I haven't tried it yet. So I'm going to paint one up. I'm going to give it a little test spin maybe Monday if the weather holds up, and we'll see what happens. I'll get that cleared, coated tomorrow, and we'll see how they are. And if I like them, I'll order some more if they're available. But I know, like I said, he runs out of these a lot, so I'm guessing that they probably do swim well. I don't know what this is a knockoff of. I honestly have no idea. I would have to look it up. Like I said, I just got a sample of it, so I don't know. But it looks like it's going to be a nice bait to paint. So we've got Stencil Res Primer that's going to go on first. This is by Badger. It is a good surface primer for plastic. It'll help your paint stick a little bit better if you're using a water-based paint. And so I'm going to put a coat of that on. Another thing you can do is just rough the surface of your bait up too. I'm just painting this one for myself right now. I mean, I don't know if I'll keep it, but I'm going to definitely test it out to see how it swims. So I know if I want to get some more of these. So I'm just going to do a nice coat of this primer, and then I'll do a base coat of white. Feel free to post questions if you have any. Thanks, guys. It's a light crowd tonight. I think weather is nice everywhere, so there's probably not going to be too many people on tonight if I'm not. But lots of people will watch the replay, so it's all good either way. You can get 20% off of all in-stock items only in the store, and that will go through Sunday. So I have posted a couple new colors recently, so check it out if you haven't yet. And also follow my YouTube if you haven't done so. It's also Colorado Custom Lures. Apparently, I'm the only person whose business is named Colorado Custom Lures. So I just get to call myself what I am on all platforms. And it's kind of fancy. So this is just water I'm using to rinse this out. And then I'm going to put some white paint in here. So I have a little bit of Wicked flat opaque, detail flat opaque white. And I'm going to use that as my base coat. So make sure that my primer is dry first. And I'll put some white down. Kiddos were supposed to have a tournament this morning for the junior bass club, but my little guy's got a bad cough, so we had to miss it, unfortunately. I heard it was a good day fishing too, so that's too bad, but he's got croup. I don't know if you all have kids that have had croup before, but it sounds like a barking dog when he's coughing, kind of. He's been getting that since he was a baby, I mean. And it's kind of scary when they're babies and they get it the first time, but after a while, and now he gets it all the time. And he's a little older, so he doesn't have to go to the doctor necessarily, but it doesn't sound very good. If you've ever heard a croup cough before, it's kind of freaky the first time you hear it. All right. Hello, everybody. Thanks, everybody, for the likes on my page. Like I said, follow me on Instagram, too, if you haven't. I'll take all the followers I can get. All right, so I'm just doing a gill glide bait here in a White Crappie. This is from Alternative Lures. It's a nice little glide bait that I have not tried yet. So I'm going to, but I haven't yet. All right, so we got a nice white base coat on this now. So this is what it looks like up close, the bait. So I'm going to let that dry for just a second while I clean this out. And then I'm going to go ahead and put some texture in black on the body before I wrap it in some mesh to do the rest of the work. So I rinse this white out real quick and then wipe my brush out. And then I will grab some black. So I just have a humongous black here. This is just detail black. So I don't need much. And then some reducer. So this is 40-30 reducer, I believe. And so I'm going to stir that up with a paintbrush. I just use disposable paintbrushes for a lot of mixing. Okay, and then I just use a water cut to rinse out my brush so that it doesn't. This is the tail. I have to clean it because I got some paint on it, but this is what the tail looks like. Okay, so let me make sure this is dry. It's not, so let me dry it real quick. The hair dryer. So I'm gonna use a texture stencil to put some black spots underneath of it, and then we'll do the scale pattern, the scale pattern with the colors over top that black texture, and it'll give a little bit of depth to the design. We'll see how it goes. Okay, I think that's dry now. So I'm going to take a clean paper towel and set it down. I like to do my stenciling with my bait laying flat on my table because it makes it easier for me anyway. So you don't have to hold your hands up. You can just kind of rest your hands on the table while you're doing it. So make sure you check out what's in the store if you guys haven't checked it out in a while. I have 20% off until Sunday, everything that's in stock. All right, so let's just do a little bit. This is just a texture stencil from Amazon. It's from Art Tool. Art Tool is the line, I suppose. Awada makes it. They're just some grunge texture stencils. And you can find them on Amazon. So not too hard to find. So I'm just putting some random texture spots, and a lot of these will get kind of covered up when we do the colors, but you'll see a little bit of it show through on the bait after we spray over it, and that's the whole point, is just to get some like underneath texture on these. So we'll do both sides. Thank you guys. Thanks, Robert. It's getting hot in Florida, I bet. My mom and dad, they spend their summers there, and they're getting. I think they're leaving. They might be leaving this weekend. I don't remember if it's this weekend or if it's next weekend. I should ask. I forgot. Time gets away from me. And they go back to Iowa. But they said it was pretty hot last time I talked to them. They live near Tampa during the winter. Okay, so now that I've got a little bit of texture on here, on the front and the back, I'm just trying to get some at the bottom so you can really see that when I get done. Okay. So texture on both sides, just a little bit. That'll show through when we get done here. And then I'm going to wrap these up in some mesh. So I have a little bit of mesh right here. This just comes from a shower loofah. And I just cut like the loop. So I just put the bait inside the loop. And then we'll pin it off on the bottom and the top. You have to make sure you get it tight. Otherwise, it's going to be distorted. And sometimes these get a little bit disfigured. So you have to move it around until you get... You don't want to stretch them too much. Because if you stretch them too much, then you'll distort the mesh pattern. And it'll look less than perfect. These loofahs are made out of like a plastic material. And they have a tendency to... They don't bounce back if you stretch them too far. So just start by like the big part of the bait, you clip the top and bottom like that, and then you'll get a reference, like a starting point. And then from there, work your way towards the front and then towards the back, or whatever. Either way works. It doesn't matter what order you do it in, but you start in the middle where it's the widest, and then you kind of have to sometimes roll the mesh up in order to get it to be straight, so that the scales are straight up and down versus distorted like sideways or whatever on your bait. If you do it too fast, you'll end up with like your scales kind of like going diagonal on your bait. And some people aren't that particular. It's up to you how you do it, but I like mine straight. So I try to get them as straight up and down as possible. They're straight up and down. As I can or whatever. And so you kind of got to take your time. But this one's pretty little, so it shouldn't take me too long. And then you want to make sure it's tight too, because if it's not tight, then it won't show up as much. So I'm just using a mixture of binder clips and some alligator clips that I got from Amazon. If you just go, binder clips are super easy to find. You can get them at Walmart, but if you look up alligator clips on Amazon, you'll find all different kinds of varieties. These ones with the red rubber kind of like ends on them are the ones that I like because they're tight. They stay tight. They look like this, and they come in like 20. You can get them in multiple size packs, but I think that it's like 25 packs or something, or there might be bigger. There might be bigger size packs you get. I don't know. I have a lot of them, so I don't need to order any more right now. All right, so we'll do our best to keep this straight. This thick curve on here makes it a little difficult to get this tail tight because it's got this really rounded curve on the end. Sometimes you can use a little alligator clip. And these get heavy too, so it's kind of tough, but this on the end works better. So now I've got this whole thing wrapped. Looks like a mess kind of, but that's all right. And then, hello, Austin. Hello, Glenn. Thanks, guys, for watching. So I left my black in here. I don't think this will take me too long, so it should be okay to stay in there. I'm going to grab my other brush, and we're going to put some... I'm going to put some yellow gold in here. This is just Pearl Createx Gold. So I'm going to just put a few drops in there and then some reducer. And we're just going to mist this over the body of the lure. Actually, I'm thinking now. No, it's fine. I'm just going to stay with what I'm doing. I was just thinking about whether maybe I wanted to do white pearl first, but I think I'm going to just do it this way. It'll be okay. All right. So I'm going to mist this gold over everything except for the very bottom. So like maybe the top 2/3 or so. I do have a reference photo for this, but I've already done it once, so I don't need it right now because I already know what it looks like. So just, you don't want to overdo it, just a little bit at a time, and make sure it's dry before you put more on. Otherwise, you'll end up with, it'll get messy, and it'll start to seep underneath the mesh. And once it seeps underneath the mesh, you kind of lose your scale pattern a little bit. So you want to make sure you don't overdo it. It's one of the hardest things when you're learning to airbrush is to know what, exactly how much paint you should be using at once, and not to overdo it. Because you can easily make a mess, and that's hard to fix. Okay, so I'm going to flip this baby over, and I'm just going to be real careful about it so I don't mess up the mesh, and I'm just going to put it in my hand like that, and then just set it down like this. So you're not moving that scale pattern too much. Okay, and a little more paint. I underestimated how much I was going to use there. These Createx paints usually need some reducer. Some of them are thinner than others, but the regular Createx paints typically are much easier to spray if you put a little reducer in there. They're supposedly spray like right from the bottle, but I think it's kind of hard to. Again, you don't have to blow dry them. If you want to just sit there and wait for it to dry, that's totally up to you. I'm not patient, so hair dryer it is. So I'm going to clean this out. I have my air turned down. That's why it's not very strong. Sometimes I turn my air down and I forget that I turn my air down, and then I just assume my brush is kind of clogged. And really, it's just like I'm only using half my air. Oh, goodness. Okay. So I'm going to clean this out, and then I'm going to put some, this is green flash metallic. So it's like a color shift, gold green. And you can get this by Folk Art, or this is Ceramcoat. It's just a different brand, but it's the same paint pretty much. And it's in the craft section. So they sell that brand at Target last I knew, Ceramcoat, but you can get Folk Art at Hobby Lobby, and sometimes Walmart has it too. And they have color shifts. And there's other color shifts too. Createx makes some color shifting paints. I don't remember if they're called Flare or if that's something else. I've never bought their color shift paints, so I can't remember exactly what they're called. So I'm going to mist over all of this with this great green color. And I'm going to kind of not go too heavy on the bottom area, but it comes out really fast, actually. I might back blend some of this with a little bit of pearl white just to tone it down. Because I'm going to do the belly in pearl white. So if it's too bright, I'll come back around and I'll just kind of tone it down. So this is the gold green over top of gold. And I'm gonna, so it's still kind of a like a yellow gold color, but now it's got a green tinge to it. So I'm gonna go back over the other side now with this color. Just make it still kind of yellowish, but with a little bit more of a green tint to it, if that makes any sense. Okay, and I think that's about the same there. Dry this real quick. I'm going to do, actually, I'm going to clean this black out so I can put some white in here. I want to play around with the colors a little bit. I have a ton of black paint, so I don't really care if I'm wasting it. Share the feed if you can on your page, guys. Share it wherever you think people might want to watch. I've been doing this a while now, and it's harder to get lots of viewers than it used to be because everybody's seen it by now. Okay, there's still black in there, so I'm going to use a little bit of alcohol. And alcohol is kind of like a good paint remover. And it's not quite as harsh as acetone. So I don't use acetone in my airbrush. It's not recommended by the manufacturer. Lots of people do. I just don't do it. I use alcohol and I get it out of my brush fast. And re-rinse. So I'm going to put a little bit of pearl white in here. I think I grabbed the wrong color. Hang on. I grabbed the wrong color, so I thought I grabbed white, but I grabbed silver on accident. So this is Createx Auto Air Metallic White. Oops, wrong brush. So I'm going to put a little bit of this in here. Just a few drops. And then I'll put a little bit of reducer in and stir it up. Hi, Dad. Hi, Mom. Okay. So I'm going to go back over just the bottom, this bottom section with the pearl white. And we're just going to overlap that green a little bit. And then I'll come back down with just the color shift and get it looking a little bit less bright. We're just kind of blending the colors together a little bit. And then on the bottom, I want to mute out some of the texture that I sprayed on there before I put the scales on. Just to like tone them down a little bit so they're kind of more like a shadowy texture versus like a dark, bright texture, if that makes any sense. Okay, so now you can see that it's a little bit less bright at the bottom. So I'm going to take this green again, and I'm just going to super lightly mist it across the middle. Okay, that looks pretty good. So I want it to really fade into the white so it looks more natural. So that's what we're doing. We're just kind of blending it back and forth until we get it to where we want it to be. So again, just going across the bottom, a little bit on the middle. A quick heat set so we don't run, our paint doesn't run. Okay. And then a little air dry. And then I'll mist that color shift green one more time over top of this. so it all kind of blends together. And okay, that looks pretty good. Okay, so it's kind of hard to see the blend, but it's there. It'll look a little bit better when you get it off of the scaling, and you can see it better. But we're not going to take that off yet because we're going to do our dark green on the top. And then we're also going to do our stripes with this mesh on as well, because that's the way it kind of looks on the fish, is the stripes, still the scale pattern still shows through where the stripes are. So we're going to leave, I lost my paintbrush now. I dropped it. Just a minute, I dropped it. Okay, I got it. Okay. So I got to clean this green out of here. Make sure I don't have any questions from anyone. Everybody's so quiet tonight. So few comments. Everybody bailed on me because I wasn't here last week. We had the big PTT tournament for the ABA last weekend, and so we do a big grill. We grill out at the reservoir. We get a pavilion and grill out and all that stuff. So I had to help out with that, and it was a lot of work. So that's why I wasn't here last weekend, because we had that all day on Sunday. It was a lot of work to set everything up. So this is moss green, and I'm going to thin this down, and we're going to put this just on the high sides. Everybody over on YouTube is dead silent. You guys are like, nobody has the energy today. Was it like a really busy day of fishing and everybody's tired? Or am I that boring? Probably both, honestly. Okay. Hello, Arthur. All right, so we're going to do the high sides in green. I'm just going to pick this up with my hand like this. And then we're just going to go across basically the shoulders and the back with a little bit of moss green. It's going to look kind of bright at first, but I'll be putting some black scales over it, and that'll turn it down a little bit. So at first it's going to look bright. So that's like the first, and I don't know if it does on the camera. On my laptop, it does not look bright. But I don't know what it looks like on your camera if you're watching on YouTube. Or on your camera, I mean on your phone or whatever, if you're watching on YouTube. But my laptop it doesn't look, you can't see the colors very well when I'm watching it on my laptop here. It's probably just our laptop. I bet you if I was watching it, I should probably go back and look and see what my YouTube videos look like on my phone. I don't really ever do that. It's actually not very bright now that I've got a couple layers on there. It's much less bright. So there's what it looks like after I put a few layers of moss green on. So I'm going to flip it over. I'll just switch here, and I'm going to do the other side. So again, I'm just putting the darker green on the top, just on the very top. And then you have to do a few layers of this because it's very transparent. And you kind of want to build it up little by little, so it doesn't start running or you don't overdo it and put too much paint down. So little by little. All right, a little bit more here on the tail end. And that should be good. So then I'm going to switch to black. Okay, so there it is on this side. So you can see it kind of transitions from a dark green to a light green to kind of like almost a gold. And that's what we're going for. So I'm going to spray the green out. And then I'm going to go back to black here. And I'm going to do some stripes. So I've got a stripe stencil I made for White Crappie. I made this a while ago. And I kind of just never got around to doing a white crappie. And I might do these in crankbaits if you guys think that you would like them in white crappie. If you would like some square bills and divers or whatever. Somebody's riding a dirt bike. The old 4-stroke dirt bike. I can hear it. All right. I needed a drink. So here's my stencil that I made. Sorry. It's under here somewhere. So this is a stencil I made for white crappie. And I just traced a fish on my iPad. I have Apple Pencil. And I use Autodesk Sketchbook. So I'm going to set this on here, and I am just going to lightly mist my stripes right through my stencil. And not too dark. Not too dark. You can always come back and make it darker if it's too light, but you can't go the other way. If it's a really intricate stencil, sometimes you can't put it back on and change it. So you have to commit, but with a stencil like this that's a little bit bigger, you can always come back and add to it. So this is pretty light, and I kind of like it that way, but I think there's a couple spots that could use a little more, so I'm just going to line it back up. This is a pretty big stencil, so it's a lot easier to line this up than it would be like if it was a crankbait or something like that. Almost done. Hang in there. Okay, so I'll show you what it looks like on this side real quick. So there's the stripes, okay? And then we're gonna do the other side first. And then I'll do a little bit of darkening on the top. Excuse me. I hope I'm not getting my son's cough. He sounds terrible. My poor little dude. He had to miss his fishing tournament today. It's kind of sad. He was really bummed out. My daughter doesn't really like fishing much, but she likes to go and play in the pond with the other kids and grown-ups, and so we signed her up anyway. Okay, that looks pretty good actually the first time around, so I think I'm just going to leave that. So both sides are the same. So we have our white crappie stripe here, and then I'm going to go ahead and darken up the spine a little bit with some scales, just kind of at an angle here. Right along the top. Okay, that's good. So you can kind of, I don't know if you can really see yet, but you'll be able to tell when I take but it's a little darker on the top now, and I'm going to flip it to the other side. Okay, so let's make sure this is dry, and then we're going to take this mesh off, and I have to, we got to do some work on the face. So I'm going to unclip everything here. Make sure you check out, White Crappie. Make sure you check out the store. I did offer 20% off this weekend, so use the code LIVE20. LIVE 20 at checkout to get 20% off in-stock items. That'll only come off regular priced items. So if there's something in the clearance section, you won't. I don't think you can get double discounts on that. Okay, so here it is so far. Okay, so you can see the scale pattern on it all over. So let's do some face work now. Looks pretty good so far. So I'm gonna try and get rid of the scales on the cheeks here. So I'm gonna take my pearl white and I'm just gonna kind of dull down the bottom of the cheeks here. And then I'm going to put the green back in. That's color shift green. And I'm going to just make that coloration go across the face again. But I don't want it to be, I don't want the gill plate to be full of scales. So I'm trying to get rid of some of them by covering them up with white, with pearl white. You could definitely cover up the scales with regular white. The only bad thing about that is sometimes it can tend to overspray a little, and then it might sort of mess up some of the rest of the bait. If you're really accurate, you can use regular white and then go back over it, and it'll cover better that way. If you want more accurate, and you can also use like masking tools, but then sometimes if you put like a masking tool, like a curve over the gill plate or whatever, it'll leave a line, and sometimes that doesn't look great. So it's up to you, whatever works for you. Sometimes a line is hard to blend. Like if you don't want there to be a harsh line, then you kind of have to freehand it. Otherwise, you'll really see that line. Okay, so I just put a little bit of this in there and some reducer, and I'm just going to go over the cheeks a little bit with this color. And then we're going to go back to our pearl white. Unfortunately, I don't have 7. Oh, that was black. I got to clean this out. Sorry. I forgot to rinse that after I put black in it, and so it doesn't look so good. My bad. I missed a step there. Yes, the crappie. I did a crappie for somebody I finished it yesterday, and it turned out pretty good, so I thought I would do it live. Okay, let's make sure I rinse this off this time so I don't have a black in here again. All right. So my dog is probably going to start barking because the neighbor just got home. She thinks she's a Doberman, but she's just a golden retriever. She's like, I'm going to get you. All right. So I'm going to mist the face with this color a little bit. Then I'm going to go back over that. I'm going to put some texture on the face with another stencil. So I'm just kind of blending this in with the other part of the face along the nose here. So it kind of looks like it all goes together. Okay. All right. That looks good. I'm actually going to grab a different pearl white. I'm going to grab my Testors Aztec pearl white, and the reason is because I'm doing stenciling with it, and it's more opaque, and I want it to be opaque for this. So I'm going to grab that real quick. I thought that I had grabbed white, and I grabbed silver on accident, so I had to grab that. This is Testors Aztec pearl white. There still is some green in here. Hang on. Stuck. Got stuck. I hope you guys had a good day. I hope you get to go fishing. If you didn't, I hope you get to go tomorrow. We finally got past our windstorm again. And so it was nice out today. It was a little windy, but nothing like it was yesterday. And there was actually like 3 fires at Fort Carson. We live right by Fort Carson. Kind of. Not right by, but close. So it was really smoky, but they must have gotten them put out. It wasn't smoky today. So that's good. Okay, so this is just your mottled stencil from Anarchy Models. And we're going to use that all around the gill plate just to give it that, you know what I'm talking about, those little spots that they have on the cheeks. And so I'm going to do those in pearl white. All over the cheeks. All right, good. That looks good. I'll show you in a minute what it looks like. And you can go over it a couple of times if you want to, too, so it doesn't look super uniform. So you can kind of, I don't know if you'll be able to see this or not, but I'm going to try, I'll show you. So there's like these little dots on it. Can you see this? You can see it in person. It's hard to see on camera. So I'm going to do the other side now, too. Okay. And then you can, like I said, double it up so that it doesn't look super uniform again. And just put them all in different spots. All over the gill plate. Okay, now we'll I'm going to do some pearl white on the belly while I have this pearl white in here. Just going to go along the belly with this paint. Make the belly pearly. Okay. I'm going to dry this real quick so I don't smear it. All right, now I'm going to grab my black. I'm going to clean this out, and then I'm going to my mouth is not working. I'm going to do the blacks on the spine, and then I'll do a bit of fin definition, and I'll put an eyeball on there, and it'll be done. I might do a little more texture on the body, maybe. Just a little bit. Just a few areas here and there of some texture. I'm doing this really light, so it doesn't look really dark. Like, it doesn't look like much. Just filling in some of the spots a little bit. It looks pretty good, though. I don't want to do too much. So you'll see just more dimension when you have different layers of spots that are painted over, almost as if some of the spots are under the scales, which is what they really look like in real life. So you're just trying to make it look natural, basically. And then I'm going to do the spine here and the fins. I'll do the fins first, actually, because it's already sitting here. So I'm just going to take a thin outline, and I'm going to use that as a guide to trace along the top edge of the fin, and then just kind of create a very small shadow where the fin is so you can see it underneath all these scales. So that's kind of a weird curve. I'm not sure if I have anything that's curved like that. I'm thinking I need to grab something else. Hang on 1 second. This one has a little bit of a different curve. So let me try this on the bottom. That looks a little bit better, I think. Maybe? No? It'll be okay. Okay, there we go. So I'm just tracing the outline of the fin with my stencil. Okay, so it looks like this. So you can just kind of see the shadowy outline of the fin, and so you know it's there. So let me do the other side real quick here. All right, almost done with this, and then okay, so we have an outline on that one now too. And then I'm going to do just a smidge of black in the eye socket. I'm not trying to create a big shadow. I'm literally just coloring the eye socket in a little bit. And then I'll put this in a helping hands. When you're doing the spine in black, you don't want to hold it with your hand because you'll get finger marks on your bait from the overspray. So it's better if you don't touch it while you're doing this part. So I'm just darkening down the spine. Okay. Good deal. And then we'll put some eyeballs on it. I'm cleaning this out because I'll forget. I always forget after my show to clean out my stupid airbrushes. I start picking everything else up and then I forget that I still have paint in these. And then I have to clean the whole brush out, which is not my favorite. Again, that's just some alcohol to get the black crusty paint off of the sides. It's a good thing I'm not wearing a white shirt. I'm afraid to wear white. It's really a bad idea. I think I only have like one white shirt and I don't ever wear it because I'm too scared. But I'm just gonna ruin it. Okay. All right, so that's good. Let's put an eyeball in here. And then I will, I have paint that I can use for the tail. So unfortunately, the paint that you have to use for the tails when they're silicone, if you want to color them, is really toxic. SB Coat paint by Lureworks is what you use for soft plastics. So I don't recommend using it unless you have a really good ventilation system. I would just leave it clear unless you have adequate protection for spraying things like that. I wouldn't do it in your house. Let's just say that. So I just put a dab of super glue on, and then these are, you know what? I don't think that's the right size. Oh, I don't think I have these in 7mm. I don't think this is a 6mm eye. Well, yeah, it is actually. Okay. So I don't think a 7 will even fit. It might, but I don't have it. So we're putting a 6 in there. All right. So there it is. White Crappie. All done. I'll show you down here. Thanks, you guys, for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to email me or contact me on social media. I hope you guys liked my white crappie and you have a wonderful weekend. It was good to see everybody who did join. I'll see you guys next week. Thanks so much.